Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Free advertising. Welcome to the Dipshit Files number 39. I'm Mr. Scriptkeeper.
And I'm Mrs. Scriptkeeper.
And today's show is called We Used to Be Cryptids.
Yeah.
Okay. Because apparently to some other creature, we were the weird panda bear, Bigfoot fucking...
No. You missed the entire point of the title.
Damn it.
You'll figure it out.
Ah, shit. Let's open up our 39th Dipshit File. All right, wife. What the fuck are we doing today? I have no idea what's going on.
Well, this is, it started off one thing when I started writing, and it morphed into something else.
Okay. That's normally how the Dipshit Files works.
I know. It's kind of funny. But what we're doing is I'm just going to kind of go over cryptozoology, just a very, very brief overview.
Okay.
And then I'm going to talk about a few species that were cryptids at one time.
That no longer
That
are.
are no longer cryptids.
I'm fascinated by that. I can't wait to hear about it.
And a little bit of history there. And then we're going to cover some animals that could potentially be real. Basically, the top of the list of cryptids that could actually be real animals.
Well, we've already
and
talked about
cryptids.
one. We've talked about how we think the Sasquatch is 100% real and probably lives in Hilliard, Spokane.
Yeah, right here.
And
I'm looking right at him.
Shit. All right. Well,
it's the Zach Squatch.
Leave me alone. Zach Squatch just wants to be left alone. He really does.
Exactly.
That's all Zach
That's
Squatch
why
wants.
Nobody ever sees him.
Zach Squatch is just trying to isolate himself out from the human population. Because scared. Zach Squatch scared.
Zach Squatch sad. Zach Squatch wants a pet cat.
Zach Squatch going too far about talking third person and Squatch.
Sounds like Steve.
So I'm sorry about that.
All right. Will you teach us things now?
Yes, I will.
All right.
What the fuck is a cryptozoologist?
Cryptozoology is the study of unknown animals, also known as cryptids. Things like unicorns, werewolves, and Bigfoot. Cryptozoology is generally dismissed in most scientific circles, although the search for cryptids can turn up some interesting stuff that we didn't know before. For example, a film crew that was investigating the Yeti in 2013 found some bone and fur samples that they had analyzed by geneticists to see if maybe it came from a Yeti. And it did not come from a Yeti.
It wasn't Yeti, yeah.
It was actually from the Himalayan black bear, but when they did some mitochondrial DNA testing on the samples,
it was a werebear.
They actually found out some stuff about the black bear population in that area that they didn't know before.
These bears could do science. They're science bears.
They were able to figure out that 650,000 years ago, a single population of bears
ruled the earth,
were split in two by a glacier that formed in that area.
Due to Spider-Man.
And those two different groups became different subspecies. After a while, one became the Himalayan black bear and one became the Tibetan brown bear.
Wow.
So, thanks to a guy who was researching Bigfoot, we now have some more information about bears in a certain population.
Conversely, though, a lot of cryptozoologists are credulous cunts.
I think most people are interested in cryptids because of the whole unknown monster-like animal thing, like some sort of primal fear.
Dude, what was that? I don't know, probably a Sasquatch.
What? A big ass. Dude, it was just Uncle Bob.
It's easy to mistake an Uncle Bob for a Sasquatch.
Why'd you go straight to Sasquatch?
Because of a deep-seated primal fear.
Weird.
But also the smell. Uncle Bob smells.
That's true.
It's fascinating when you think you know something, and then when you really look into it, you're like, what the fuck? It has ears? Who knew?
All ears your face. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, obviously in the caveman days, there were literal monsters that could kill you
Right.
if you weren't looking in the right direction.
Well, there still are, but we just don't go far out the cities, you know.
some of us don't. Some of us like to be out in the wilderness.
Well, like Jeff from Just a Ride. I mean, he goes and hangs out with bears and like twiddles their balls to see what they'll do. Oh, look, the bear doesn't like its balls diddled. What do you know?
But even up to like 200 years ago or so, the nighttime was creepy and scary as hell. Before we had electricity and light bulbs, you basically couldn't do much of anything in the night, especially if there wasn't a full moon.
Or ample whale oil lamp.
It was just literally completely dark out there, and there could be anything in those woods.
Oh, fuck, dude. What was that?
Oh, it's probably just the wind, bro.
Yeah, but what if it was one of those murder cats?
Just sounds like the wind to me, dude.
Yeah, but murder cats sound like the wind when they stalk up on you and then murder you.
Dude, relax.
Well, what I'm concerned about is that if we relax, we won't get our genes into the future because a murder cat will come and kill us because you thought it was the fucking wind.
Fuck, fine, dude. I'll get up and I'll go look.
Okay, well, what is it?
Well, good news is you were right.
See, we gotta be diligent.
Right. Bad news is...
Oh, fuck, we're about to be attacked by a murder cat.
Yeah.
So it's really no surprise that our stories and our fables are littered with dragons and unicorns and elves, and stories spread widely about the Sasquatch and lake monsters and the Kraken.
Imagine if we had no stories with stuff like that. It was all just straight up like, no, that was just a tree.
It's fucking boring.
The end. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So these creatures are usually misidentified in some way, but, and this happens more often than you think, sometimes they turn out to be real, as we will learn in just a bit.
Bum, bum, bum.
So there's plenty of potential for some of these cryptids out there to actually be out there somewhere. And today we're going to discuss 5 of the most likely ones that I could find.
Cool. Is it possible that some cryptids are real?
The orang pendek.
What?
Yeah, so the orang pendek is a human-like primate that's thought to be found in Sumatra. Orang pendek in the Indonesian language stands for short person, and it's thought to be around 2.5 to 5 feet tall.
Oh, these were the hobbits that they were talking about. Hobbits. Yeah.
So it's covered in golden brown or gray hair, and it walks upright on 2 legs, just like a person. Here's the wildest thing about the orang pendek.
They have
Apparently,
magic rings. They love magic rings.
apparently, it has a very human-like face.
Fuck.
Now, there's a possibility that this is simply an orangutan, but most orangutans use their arms when they walk. Additionally, none of them have been spotted in this particular national park where the orang pendek is thought to be.
And these guys were found, the bones that she's talking about were found next to a wizard's bones. And so everybody's thinking...
Would you stop?
Sorry.
However, very recently, a new orangutan species was discovered on Sumatra. It's called the Tapanuli, and it was discovered near Lake Toba. So it's not impossible to think that there's another, even rarer species of orangutan out there that walks upright, looks a little bit like us. It's possible.
I keep looking at my Uncle Bob going, that's probably a different creature.
2.5 to 5 feet tall,
Right.
walks upright, covered in fur, like little mini Sasquatches,
Right.
but a human-like face. Now, I've seen some renditions, like artist renditions, and... you know, it's quite possible. I think it's interesting.
It's super interesting.
Yeah. So the next one is the Nunda.
Nunda.
A giant cat the size of a donkey is rumored to be found in Tanzania in East Africa.
Whoa.
Right? The first recorded...
Donkey cat.
Fuck yeah.
Wait, we're gonna catch a what? It's called a donkey cat. Because it's a donkey-sized cat? That sounds dangerous as fuck. You'd think so, but we use a laser pointer and it follows it right into a cage. Oh, nice.
The first recorded mention of
Meow.
it was from the Swahili song in the year 1150. So it goes way back.
Wow.
The Nunda is thought to have massive claws and would stalk people in the middle of the night and eat them.
Well, this big kitty, right?
Yeah. So it's been described by witnesses as having brindled fur and having claws on their paws the size of a lion's. And allegedly it never roars, but it purrs.
Oh, imagine those the big beans on that kitty.
Oh,
kitty beans.
giant
They just
kitty beans.
kill
Could you
with them.
imagine a cat the size of a donkey, what it sounds like when it purrs?
Oh, man.
Cute.
Oh, that'd be rad. Imagine the size of that kitty butthole waking you up in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Right on your face.
Wow. Whoa.
Yikes.
Nice. All right.
It was blamed for several attacks on the people in the 1920s because some of the bodies were found with gray hair clutched in their hands.
Plus they had like the look of donkey cat terror in their face when they were dead.
It was thought that they had tried to fight this thing off, and they think that the gray hair had come from the Nunda. Now, there's also a possibility that it's just a hybrid offspring or a subspecies of tigers or leopards or something like that. However, some cryptozoologists think they might be
Aliens.
just an abnormal version of an African golden cat called the Prophyllus errata.
Okay.
Potentially.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Okay, so the next one is the Dobhar shoe.
Donkey cat.
Sorry. It's just a fun idea.
The Dobhar shoe.
Okay.
Okay. So otters are super fucking cute animals.
Amen.
They really are. I mean, have you seen the otters that they sleep in the water?
I've heard of them. Oh, yeah.
They lay on their back and they
do
hold
little otter things.
They hold hands while they sleep.
Oh, fuck yeah, I've seen that.
Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
They hold hands so they don't tip over.
Aw.
It's super, super
Little
cute.
otter boats.
Anywho, cross an otter with a large hellhound and you get Ireland's Dobhar shoe.
Yeah.
Also known as the Irish crocodile.
Okay.
This creature is reportedly 7 feet long, and it can travel over land and in water, and it's bloodthirsty.
Oh, so there's no escape, really.
Like none.
How does it do with trees? Can you climb a tree to get away from the fucking thing?
I found nothing about trees.
All right, fair enough.
Do you want to stay and see the Dober Zoo?
Oh, honey, we're going to see the Dober.
What's
Oh,
that?
the Dober Zoo is like an otter.
Did he say an otter?
Oh, my God, otters are so cute.
I fucking love otters.
It's like an otter, but it's huge.
Oh, a giant otter?
Oh, wow.
Its teeth are giants.
Giant teeth.
Okay, that's less otter-like.
It's a crocodile of Ireland.
Wow, this sounds kind of dangerous. Should we just be standing
No,
here?
I'm kind of
The
scared.
Dober Zoo will kill us all.
And I apologize profusely to our Irish listeners.
So, and also like otters, they hunt in pairs. Sightings of this creature go back to 1684, and they're often found in lakes around Ireland, especially Sraheens Loch in the province of Connacht. If you're interested in seeing one of these creatures, you can just go on down to the Cornwall Cemetery in Drummonds. There, carved on the gravestone of Grace Connolly, is a picture of the Dobhar shoe that reportedly killed her in 1722. The Dobhar shoe is one of the many water cryptids, which isn't really surprising considering that even to this day, we've only explored like 10% of the ocean.
Yeah, we don't know shit about it.
And there's something about underwater world. You know, it's an environment that we can't live in. You can only see so far down.
Kevin Costner lives down there.
So it's not surprising that there's a lot of legendary cryptids that come from there. So I remember when I was diving, it was 92, 91, 92, 93, somewhere in there. I learned how to scuba dive off the coast of California. And I remember going down, I think the deepest dive that I went on was like 89 feet below the surface. And it was fascinating because I've always seen, growing up in California, I always saw the coast from the top.
Right.
You know, the beach and the waves and...
Where humans are supposed to be.
So when I started diving,
You mean LARPing as a fish.
when I started diving, I experienced the ocean in a completely different way than I ever had before.
Because you're a fish LARPer.
Right. Well, I fish LARPer. I discovered that I was part of the food chain, and I felt that, and it was so humbling to be down there. However, there's also a creep factor to it. I can see how there would be a creep factor. Yeah. I didn't find it creepy at all, ever. The only thing that I did find intimidating was a little bit of fear that enters the back of your head, that you're 80 feet down and you know how far you are. When you look up, you can see how deep you are. And if anything goes wrong with your equipment...
Like a shark comes and wants to make you poop.
I never considered the shark thing.
That's definitely an equipment malfunction, I think.
So I did have a seal. I got buzzed. I got
Passed
buzzed
through the
by
lower intestine of a shark. Sorry.
I got buzzed by a harbor seal. You know, that was a very interesting little thing. They're very curious. They're like dogs. They're awesome. But anyways,
little puppers.
I digress. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent, but I can see why the ocean would hold such mystery.
Well,
because
it's like you're flying, right?
Yeah, kind of. Very similar to flying, yes, but
slow flying.
It's just a mirrored world down there. You have trees. That's your kelp.
Right.
You have mountains. You have mountain ranges. It's
you have
just
that drop off too in the ocean.
Yeah,
That's scary.
Yeah. So you've got birds, which are fish, and you've got land dwelling animals, which are the crabs and that sort of thing. So it's really interesting. It's just a reflection of the upper world where we have no place there.
And the most important thing
we don't. You never see a human flying through the air.
I was just going to say, the interesting thing about the ocean to me is that Kevin Costner is also in the ocean as well as on land because of the gills, which is fucking cool. And, that's why he's so successful. It's really just a gene lottery, but those gills. Sorry.
Anyways, so we're always finding new species in deep, unexplored waters, and some of them,
the whole Kevin Costner family line is now its own.
Some of them used to be cryptids, as we will soon learn about.
Tight.
Okay, so away from the water, away from fucking Kevin Costner. We're moving on to the chupacabra.
Chupacabra. Oh shit.
The chupacabra is easily the most recognizable cryptid in this group.
Okay.
It was first reported in Puerto Rico in 1995, although there were stories of some weird creature killing livestock in the southwest U.S. the way back to the 1970s.
Okay. But it's only 1970s is when they first started hearing about the chupacabra?
I did some research, and I didn't dig super, super deep on this because I want to do a topic on it. But that's as far, I couldn't find anything.
It'd be more fun if it was like carved into some ancient, ruins or something.
Right.
Where it's like chupacabra's real. It's like, fuck yeah, they were talking about it 700-800 years ago.
So the chupacabra in its extreme is described as a reptilian creature with greenish, grayish skin and giant spikes that stick out of its back.
Tight.
It's thought to be 3 or 4 feet tall, hops around like a kangaroo, and kills animals with exsanguination, which is the draining of its blood.
And it's an exsanguination murder-roo. Perfect.
However, according to some people, it's really more like a hairless dog.
Okay.
In fact, one theory is that it's literally just a coyote with mange.
Okay.
Studies have shown that coyotes that are suffering from mange often just hunt the easy prey, like livestock. Hence the name chupacabra, which means goat sucker. And as for why it was originally described as being kind of reptilian, well, there's a theory about that too. There's actually a theory that this appearance was simply because the movie Species came out in 1995 in Puerto Rico, and that's just kind of got into their subconscious. That scene where they show when it comes to the Earth. And this is at least according to National Geographic. This is what that's their theory.
All right. Somebody taking the movie Species very serious. I like that. That's important. And that's probably good science right there.
So lastly, our last potential real cryptid. Remember, these are the animals that have a potential for being real.
Right.
So the last one.
So Monique, obviously a wackadoodle.
These ones have the most potential.
All right.
Okay, so I got a question for you.
I got an answer, maybe.
How much research have you done in the past on cryptids?
Quite a bit, actually. Mm-hmm. When I did my radio show, I looked into a few different cryptids. Mm-hmm. And then with Dan and Time Suck, I know I looked into a few. Mm-hmm. I can't remember which ones off the top of my head. I know I looked into the Appalachian cryptids, and we looked into a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Actually.
Well, I know that you're the one that introduced me to the chupacabra.
Right.
I remember thinking that was really funny, and I thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. It was an actual thing that people...
Oh, yeah. Them chupacabras are taking down airplanes and shit.
So, I mean, it's remained a kind of a joke in our family.
Right.
But,
most things are.
You know, when we have Drochnol, I think was called chupacabra at one point. But I was curious.
Chupacabra, I believe was his.
Have you ever heard of the ocarinis?
I haven't. No, no.
Doesn't sound familiar.
Maybe like when what continent is it on? Is it in North America or South America?
South America.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting. So because we're finally getting to a cryptid that we can kind of identify with, because
it's kind of person-like.
It's fucking human.
Oh, we are it?
Right.
Okay.
So the ocarinis are said to be an indigenous people located in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh.
So what sets these people apart from other indigenous people in that area is that they are apparently very European looking. Like pale skin, blonde hair, that kind of thing.
Huh.
They're first reported in the 16th century by Spanish missionaries, but these were also thought to be the inspiration for Percy Fawcett to go look for the lost city of Z.
Sounds like some Tarzan shit, too.
Right. So a bit more recently, they were spotted in 1924 by surgeon and explorer Alexander Hamilton Rice. In a New York Times article in 1925, he describes them as, quote, a tribe of white Indians at the headwaters of the perimeter who spoke a language entirely their own and ate cocaine and as a relish for their diet of wild plantains, end quote.
Hey, I'm Danny McDipshit with SKATCAST. We've got an exclusive interview with this isolated tribe in the Amazon. As you can see, this guy's a cracker.
Yeah, hello.
Wait, you speak English?
Yeah, we're actually time travelers.
Excuse me?
We're basically a band of MIT super nerds from the future.
What are you doing out here?
Oh, the future's bad, Jack.
What?
People do not use the internet responsibly.
So South America is home to many uncontacted tribes, but the Ocarinis are thought to be possibly from the Ashe, from Paraguay. So early descriptions of the Ashe talked about their white skin, their pale eyes, their blonde beards. So maybe it's them.
Or some Viking shit. Vikings were pretty crafty. You never know. And I think they found a Roman boat, like off the coast of South America somewhere.
They're finding... So
it's like, what the fuck?
With the weird... ocean levels and the weird weathers and weather patterns and all of the earth changes that we're experiencing right now, they're finding all kinds of weird, cool shit.
It's weird because we always think of oceans like barriers between people. Mm-hmm. And obviously we can ship things across the oceans. Mm-hmm. They're more like highways. And there had to be some people throughout history that were like, fuck it, let's try. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, fuck, we got good at this. You know? And so that's why you find Egyptian and Roman boats off the coast of places that you shouldn't have them.
I don't know. I find it fascinating.
And Chinese boats, too. It's like, fucking hey, man, we were all over the place. Everybody's been everywhere.
Right.
There's some key details we're missing in that forgotten history of ours.
Well, the irregularity of cryptid sightings kind of raises the question, what is a minimum population that must be present in order for a species to be viable? So this is a tricky question to answer because it depends on a lot of scientific variables about the environment and the life history of that species.
Are we humans viable yet? 8 billion of us?
It's kind of hard.
Is that the low mark? Sorry.
It's kind of hard to evaluate the life species of an animal when it hasn't even been discovered yet.
That makes sense.
There are computer simulations that can help sort of determine what a minimum viable population of a species might be. And researchers use it to look at the natural history of the species, the reproductive behavior, and movements of individuals amongst the population. But once again, you kind of have to have access to a species in order to really understand it in that way. One quick assessment is what they call the 5,500 rule. And what it basically means, because I had never heard about this.
Yeah.
So what it means is you need about 50 members of a species for short-term survival and 500 of a species for long-term survival that can survive, viral outbreaks, catastrophes, stuff like that. So if you apply this rule to say like the Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
That would mean
Nessie's fucked.
You need about 50 of those in that giant. It's a giant lake, but you need 50 of them, which is kind of hard to imagine there being 50 in that one lake and only getting just rare sightings of it. And
for sure.
Well, not to mention never finding any remains or anything like that.
So,
And this is one of the reasons that most experts will rule out the possibility of there actually being a Loch Ness Monster.
Or a lot of the things, yeah.
Right. But
Sasquatch too, maybe.
But even this rule isn't foolproof. There are species that have dropped below that number and still survive, like the cheetah and the European bison. So who knows, But you can also apply that rule to the Sasquatch and ask, is there enough untamed forest out there in the Pacific Northwest that a population of 50 to 500 of these humanoid creatures could live without being spotted?
Easy peasy.
Right. So the subject of Sasquatch, truly fascinating to me, and as you and our listeners already know,
we're wackadoodles
from the fucking Sasquatch episode. But you know what?
Wackadoodle me.
It's possible.
It is possible.
Anywho's it. So let's move on to cryptids turned real.
Okay.
These real fucking things used to be cryptids too.
All right, so these are some real species
that
we know about today, but they were actually considered wants to be cryptids.
Is this like the panda bear?
Okay, yes, I didn't put the panda in here, and it's not a bear. But yeah, I didn't put a panda in here.
The panda-supial? I don't know. Come on, help a guy out.
A panda-supial, a panda-supial, a panda-supial, call me panda-supial.
But that's, before you get into this, I always found it fascinating, just like we talked about in the Bigfoot thing, where it's like it took a long time, decades and decades before
they found one.
Yeah, after they had heard about it, like, there's a black and white bear, it's a vegetarian, it just sits around, it's actually pretty nice.
Right, and they're like, yeah, fucking crazy.
Eat shit, stupid. You can imagine his Twitter feed, so this is going to be fun.
Kind of similar, yeah. So
but these are
creatures that were once considered cryptids. So the Komodo dragon.
Okay.
Until 1910, stories of a giant lizard on the island of Komodo in Indonesia were laughed at by any respectable scientists.
Right.
However, when Lieutenant Sten van Hensbroek caught and killed one, things were forever changed. Explorer W. Douglas Burden wasn't happy with just a dead specimen.
No, they need to see it.
And decided to travel to the island to capture a live one. He then returned to New York City with a few dead specimens and not one, but 2 live Komodo dragons. The dragons were put on display at the Bronx Zoo and inspired Marion C. Cooper to write the 1933 classic King Kong.
Well, thank you, not quite a dragon.
All right, so next is actually the platypus.
Oh, fucking...
So if you were...
Okay, listen here, dude.
Right?
It's got a duck bill. It's got like little beaver feet and tail. It's got its little thing. It does
and
eggs and milk.
It lays eggs.
It's basically a breakfast animal.
So if you weren't familiar with a platypus and looked at a picture of one, it would be easy to believe it was a Photoshop of a duck, otter, and beaver all put together.
Over at the breakfast animal. We've already been down this road with this joke, but the breakfast animal is...
Well,
you're welcome.
Naturalists, scientists, and most Europeans in the 18th century just didn't believe such a creature could actually exist.
It's a living Denny's Grand Slam breakfast.
The second governor of New South Wales, Captain John Hunter, sent a pelt and sketch of a platypus to scientists of the European community in 1798, shortly after one was discovered.
And they're like, what kind of taxidermy nightmare shit is this?
Zoologist, anatomist, ethologist, and physician Robert Knox was convinced it was a hoax and that the pelt was actually made by an Asian taxidermist.
Yeah, just crazy shit.
So he even convinced botanist and zoologist George Shaw, who at the time believed the platypus could be real, but he had his doubts.
Right.
To take scissors to the pelt to find stitches.
Yeah?
Several years later, after many expeditions, the platypus was proven to be real.
Fucking look at this fucking thing. It's got eggs and milk and you can turn it into bacon. It's delicious.
Okay, so next is the okapi, also known as the forest giraffe. The okapi is a blend of a zebra, a donkey, a deer, and an antelope.
Sounds like something out of Avatar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yet it's the closest genetic link. Its closest genetic link is giraffes. So Europeans in the 18th and 19th centuries called this animal the African unicorn.
Oh.
Quote. Of course, Africans knew the okapi existed since these animals inhabited the Ituri forest in Central Africa.
Okay.
Because okapis are rarely seen and are extremely hard to find, they were classified as a cryptid for many, many years. In 1901, Sir Henry Johnson found an okapi skeleton and skin and sent it to the British Museum, where it was classified as a brand new species.
Huh. And now you can get it made into bangers and mash.
So next, the gorilla.
What?
Yeah. I mean, you didn't expect to see gorillas on this list.
I did not.
Right.
I thought humans had they've always dealt with gorillas, is what I think.
So, in fact, most European explorers thought that gorillas were monster-like.
Okay.
The first attributed sighting of a gorilla by a non-African was made in the 5th century BC by Greek explorer Hanno.
And he shot himself
Right.
days.
Most scientists today believe Hanno was describing either chimpanzees or baboons from his account. However,
not.
his interpreters called the creature that he saw gorilla.
Oh, gorilla.
Sorry. I don't know why that sounded like.
So another explorer, Andrew Battelle, recounted seeing human-like monsters visit his campfire every morning after he left for the day.
They were just trying to communicate. Amy, good gorilla. Good movie.
Of course, he had to mention they didn't know how to put more wood on the fire to keep it going.
No.
Yet gorillas remained cryptids until 1847.
Damn.
When Thomas Savage found gorilla bones in Liberia.
I do not know why, but that kind of changes the world for me.
He, alongside Harvard autonomist Jeffries Wyman, wrote a formal description of the new species, calling it gorilla.
Okay.
A decade later, anthropologist Paul Caillou, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he hunted live gorillas in order to obtain specimens to be analyzed.
And he was beaten to death by gorillas.
They ripped his arms off and ripped him and killed him with his own arms.
Yes.
One gorilla species, the mountain gorilla, stayed a cryptid until 1902 when German captain Robert von Behring first identified one. Yeah.
Fuck.
So gorillas.
That's
all right. Next.
kind of surprising. All right, next.
The giant squid.
All right. I knew this one was coming.
So many people still consider the giant squid to be a cryptid.
How dare you?
Similar to most cryptids, which tend to live in habitats that are difficult for humans to find, the giant squid live in the deep, deep ocean.
So I think the cryptid one would be the one that could take this, like the size of a ship.
Right.
Yeah. But they are pretty big.
Well, they were saying these crazy things because they looked
Captain Nemo.
fucking huge.
Right.
So the first images of a giant squid were taken in 2004 by researchers in Japan. And in 2006, scientists from Japan's National Science Museum caught a live 24-foot female giant squid.
Shit.
Every few months, there's another news report of a giant dead squid washing ashore.
That size, it could take down a dinghy.
Well,
but it's not taking down the Nautilus.
Well, even though some people consider the giant squid to be a hoax, the scientific evidence says otherwise.
Right. Yeah, they're big ass. The ocean's huge and it, breeds big things.
All right, the bondage zoo. That's another one.
Okay, that sounds
Next
kind of
one.
Sexy.
The bondage zoo is one of the ancestral spirits of the Moni people of Western Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
Its ties to Western Papua New Guinea mythology made the bondage zoo a cryptid for decades.
Right.
It wasn't until the 1980s that a man named Tim Flannery, he was an Australian scientist, he took the first...
Most Flannerys are.
He took the first picture of the bondage zoo. Mr. Flannery identified the animal as a tree-dwelling marsupial that looked like a tiny man.
Yep. That's how we think West Flannerys were like, that looks like a little man.
It has black and white fur and even walks around on two legs. Unfortunately, the bondage zoo is on the endangered species list. So these are actually super cute little things. They kind of resemble a koala. Aww. Kinda. Their faces do, but they're longer. Anyways,
I got two questions.
They're
real
super
quick.
cute. What's up? I don't know what size their wings are.
Okay.
I know that's one of them.
I had 3 questions now. Do they taste good?
I don't know.
And can you extract oil from them?
That means they're going to die.
Okay, yeah. If they don't, either of those things are they're dead.
I know how that works.
But if you could extract oil from their little body, just squeeze the little oil out of their little, what are they called? Kamambapoos?
I don't...
Get that oil so that we can
How do you spell that? They're Kamambapoos?
Kamambapoo.
Kamambapoo. Squirt, squirt. All right, so next is the kangaroo. I know, it's another...
Oh, God, you're right.
So it's another one.
Can you imagine them hearing that in Europe where they're like...
Sir, it's a deer.
So
it's a deer with
a boxing deer with a pocket.
With a pocket.
And it's got a big long tail. It could kill you.
Yeah, exactly. They actually look like men.
Yeah, they got pectoral muscles like fucking crazy. The
fucking ripped.
Crocky. That's why everybody's fucking, Crocky, fuck this goddamn fucking men, kangaroos.
Well, it's hard to believe that kangaroos were cryptids. The first description of a kangaroo was made by Amerigo Vespucci in 1499 when he was traveling along the southern coast of Australia. He described it as a monstrous beast with the head of a fox, the hands of a man, the tail of a monkey, and a bag that is used to carry its young.
He wasn't lying.
Right.
That's fucking right there.
So in 1629, Francisco Palsert captured a kangaroo, but it died on his voyage. It wasn't until Sir Joseph Banks rediscovered the kangaroo on Captain Cook's voyage in 1770 that the kangaroo changed from an enjoyable myth
Right.
to an actual species.
And then for those of you that have seen Tank Girl, you know that they evolved to talk and that they can use
I've never
machine
seen
guns.
that movie.
That's an interesting comic book, and then they turned it into a movie.
Oh, wow.
And Ice-T is
Oh, I know it was a movie, but
kangaroo.
I know not. Ice-T was a kangaroo.
He got paid $1 million to be a kangaroo.
He wore a kangaroo.
Oh yeah. It must
What?
have been hell getting in that fucking makeup every
No,
day.
are you kidding me?
It's
You're pulling my leg.
No, would you wear a kangaroo outfit for $1 million for a few months? Fuck you. I know you would.
Why
If you
would-
would turn it down, we'd have.
Okay, so
we'd have
why
talks.
is there a kangaroo in a movie called Tank Girl?
It's about a future dystopian, I guess,
And he was a kangaroo?
mutated in Australia. I mean, that's your future, guys. If our Australian listeners, it's like, stop having sex with kangaroos,
Okay,
guys.
that's fucking weird.
I know. Or actually, maybe don't let those kangaroos come into
Okay,
town.
I heard about the movie, but I know nothing about it. I thought it was a military movie
No.
because of the word tank.
Yeah,
See, that's me.
Yeah, it's not that.
All right, so we just went through a few cryptids that have become official species. So
Right.
the field of cryptozoology shows us that there's a lot of animals on our planet we don't understand. But just because we don't understand something doesn't mean it can't exist.
Right. Like Kevin Costner's and Ice-T's.
Yeah, well, we're here.
Right.
Earth is a beautiful place. It's filled with all kinds of weird, creepy cryptids lurking where we'd least expect. There's still hope for cryptids like Bigfoot and the Jersey Devil and Chupacabra.
Yeah. And the donkey cat.
And the orang pendek and others. Maybe one day they will have their existence proven too. They'd be real boys.
Can you imagine a donkey cat, though? Fuck.
I think that would be a cat the size of a donkey.
I think that would be bad for
I think
people.
that would be so cute.
Oh, it would be cute for a second until it's ripping your eyes out for fun.
Well, I had no, they're not all that. I worked with the big cats.
Can you imagine the size of that kitty butthole just in your face? They're so proud of their shit.
They're so cool.
Can you imagine
I
the
love
box? The box it would take to get their shit sand in.
Well, I don't know about the size of a donkey. I've only been around the big cats, the lions and the tigers.
I guess they're close, huh?
Kind of.
They got big kitty buttholes, don't they?
Yeah.
Fuck.
They're just
And they want you to see their butthole, don't they?
They are so fucking cute. They're just like house cats. They're just giant versions of your kitty.
So if they did what our house cat did, it would crush us every morning.
Yeah.
It would crush our chests.
Yep.
Trying to show us its butthole.
Yeah.
And trying to get some little treats for itself.
Patting you just to get your attention, the tap tap that she does.
Oh,
Except
you die.
You would, you'd
The
bleed
claw
out.
punctures
you'd bleed out.
jugular and you die.
Yeah.
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 Well,
So
all right.
that was my little meandering through cryptids.
Well, let's talk about what we learned on the other side of this musical number.
This apparently constitutes a musical number. All right, let's find out what the dipshits think about this dipshittery. All right.
I learned it.
You learned some things.
Yeah, that's fucking a gorilla, man.
I know.
Gorilla
Kangaroo.
The kangaroo makes sense because Australia
Platypus.
was kind of, for Europeans anyway, it was like,
Right.
what's this place?
Right.
For everyone, really.
I don't know. Some of these animals are super interesting. And I honestly think that a Sasquatch would be more likely than a fucking platypus.
I know. It does sound. So it's a really big
Honestly.
monkey or this
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster of a creature
It's
that they made.
a giant primate or this thing.
Yeah.
I'm
that
blown
even-
away that the platypus is proven to be real, but not the forest ape.
Right.
The North American forest ape.
That's why I think the simulation, that's why I think the world is a simulation. It's like, here's this normal stuff, breakfast
The world
animal.
is a vampire.
But for God to put a breakfast,
animal.
on the earth, it makes it.
It is kind of cute.
It makes it seem like this is all just a bunch of 1010s.
Okay, I got a question
People
for
are
you.
fucking around.
I had a question.
Just
What
fucking
makes
around.
what makes it a breakfast animal besides the fact that it lays eggs?
It lays eggs, but it also has milk, cheese. So you got your milk and your eggs, and you could eat the fucker as bacon. I think I made that clear our last episode.
Okay.
We talked about this. So it's 100% an egg McMuffin animal. That's what it
Have you
is.
ever eaten platypus?
I know, but I can imagine it's delicious. You put
Really?
some MSG on that shit, or you
God.
deep fat fry that
You could
shit.
put MSG on your socks and you would enjoy eating them.
Yeah. By the way, Bodie, thank you for the MSG, bro. It's salt crack.
Yeah, we're busting into the the rice game here.
Oh, yeah.
He got a rice cooker for Christmas,
Oh, yeah.
and he got a wok.
I did.
So
I'm trying to do it legit.
Yeah.
And then we got MSG.
And
we
he
got all the
watched a bunch
delicious
of YouTube videos.
I'm going to ruin the shit out of rice for a little while, but
Well, it's interesting. I've always made rice the old-fashioned way. You steam it in a pan.
Yeah.
You cook it in a pan. But we now have a rice cooker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is where most of the people that like rice on the earth go, so that they don't have to waste their damn time making rice.
I don't think making rice is a waste of time.
It's a goddamn waste of time when you got a little thing that can do it.
Definitely not.
If you do it every day, which this guy,
right,
Zach Squatch,
it takes 20 minutes to make rice.
Pretty much a vegetarian because he likes fried rice a lot. But if you put a little meat in there, Zach Squatch won't be mad. He'll eat that too. But I'd eat that every day, so that's what's going to happen probably. Thank you, Santa.
Yes, Santa and Bodie.
And Bodie. Yeah, and thank you for the MSG.
So we got some cool stuff heading our way. What did you want to say?
Well, I wanted to ask you a couple things about the episode we just did.
Let's do all the things that you want to do.
And before we move away from the episode we just did, I thought maybe you and I could talk about the episode, but no, let's not then. You're looking at me like, no, I don't think we should do that. I think we do that every show, but this one's weird now.
No, let's
make it weird.
Let's chat about the episode.
Well,
I mean, you really did just talk your way through the whole episodes. Couldn't imagine that you'd have anything else that you'd want to say.
Oh my God. Wow. Here I thought the premise of the show was be that obnoxious guy that interrupts his wife constantly
with comedic precision.
But now I find
you've done very well.
It's not loving or people don't like it. People want...
Who's people?
You people. I don't see anyone else. I don't know anybody. I don't go outside. I'm not social.
But we're not friendly.
We don't do things
camp.
with people.
Okay, so let's talk about the episode.
What did you leave out? Did you leave out any stuff, like any animals?
I left a lot of shit out.
Why did you leave them out?
Because it wasn't as information wasn't as readily available.
Oh shit, you didn't want to dig, did you? You were like, fuck it, that's a lot of work.
No, that's why I said this thing morphed, because there was so much information. My brain was like, what do I add?
This was going to be the Appalachian cryptids, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So, can I talk about another thing that I was going to talk about before you verbally accosted me about?
I just thought I'd ask you. You worked real hard, and then I thought I'd ask you about how your work harding went. Yep. And now we can't know because you don't want to.
Well, no, I do.
No, you don't.
We're
not going to come back to it.
This started off as yes, we are.
Oh, fucking A.
It started off as the Appalachian mythos and folklore and cryptids.
Right. But you were like, that's too much shit.
No, it was so much, and I wanted to do it right. So then I started, when I was doing my research, I was stumbling across all of these cool things that actually almost like cities and stuff that they have. And I started doing this, I don't know, it was like episode 10 or something, where we did Helltown.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
And then I think we did another one too. But what I'm going to do now, starting in 2023, is every month or so, I think it's probably going to be like every 5th episode, we're going to visit a state and discuss their cryptids. Yeah, their weird folklore and mythos.
There's one in each state, if not more than one.
There is definitely plenty
like 30
to
in
talk
California,
about. I know.
20 in Texas.
So I'm really excited about that.
For some reason, 85 in New Jersey. I don't know why.
There's a fuck ton.
I think it might be the chemical and nuclear waste that's just chilling.
It could be.
Sorry, New Jersey. It's just the way it is. You guys know. It's nothing new to you, But anyway.
Yeah, so that's...
So state to state. So SKATCAST, once again, will be the place for your geography. Dave and Angus, state to state. You'll learn stuff. Dipshit files once a month or so.
We're learning the stuff that hasn't been proven to be fact yet, though.
Right. We're going to fuck around with the mythos.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more of the lighthearted side of the Dipshit files, because we will be diving into true crime.
More and more.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of serial killers. There's a lot of true crime out there. But I kind of want to cover things that maybe our listeners have not heard. So I'm going to be digging more into some of the lesser known stories, because they're fascinating and just as fucking creepy.
Well, that's kind of one of the reasons that we started doing this show in the first place. Is like, well, we wanted to tackle, for our dipshit meter, we wanted to tackle some of these better known names to give us like an idea of
Yes.
like, who the most dangerous are.
Right.
But you're a pretty big, not a fan, but you follow this stuff.
Right.
You understand it, and you've got a great memory. So you're like
human depravity.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting to me.
This is probably the same reason I find economics interesting. It's like human action. Why do humans do what we do?
Right.
And is there a way to stop them from doing
exactly? Well, I'm fascinated by human depravity.
Yeah.
Why? What gets them there, and why do they continue? What makes them tick? So
I think we all are. I mean, most of our stories have that's the bad guy in every story,
right?
Ish. You know?
Well, yeah. So there's going to be. I've got a lot of stuff on the docket for the future that are. It's true crime, but it's stuff that you may not have heard.
I'm excited about
and that you may not be familiar with. We're going to cover more filicide. We're going to cover the family annihilators.
Yeah.
We're going to cover, of course, some serial killers, but the serial killer vein has basically been tapped by podcasters from all over.
Almost everything really has in some level, but it's like there's this whole nother area where it's fun to get into that. You're right.
Yes.
These stories that haven't been uncovered yet.
Right. And I'm sure they've hit the news and stuff, that you can't have a murder without it entering the news, which is why I can research it and find it.
Right.
But
sure.
I want to be able to pull some of the most fascinating stories, because I've come across some where I'm like, what the fuck? What? They did what? No. So I want to share that with our listeners, because it's like, what? That was fucking weird. And there's some really weird ones out there. But they're not multiple. They may not have killed in multiples, but they did weird shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When I worked at TimeSuck, there was a lot of, we would talk about topics all the time. Not as much as I would have liked to, but Dan and I would talk about what we wanted to do for the next month or so.
Right.
And I'd throw him all these ideas, and he'd throw them at my way, and we'd do research kind of in real time here and there. And we would come across some of these things where it's like, damn, I wish there was more on this.
Right. Well, and I'm going to tackle that.
That way, you know, if we do city to city or by state, you know, we can add just these stories.
Yes.
But if there's not a ton to it, we can still mention it, because it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause there were so many times where it's like, dude, we have to do a suck on this guy. And it's like, yeah, but there's no book. There's no, I mean, Dan likes to do 2.5, 3 hour podcasts.
Right.
So it's like, there's not enough information to do a good suck. And he doesn't do anthology sucks where it's like 3, 4. He does sometimes, but not very often. So,
well,
we can do them here.
I'm going to be doing, depending on how much information is available, I may do a few in an episode.
Right.
So you can kind of get that. And of course, I will group them with similarities of some kind, be it location, method, who knows. But
right.
yeah, so I'm excited about that. That's going to be coming up for 2023. It's kind of a new spin on things.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about 2022? We're at the end. This is our 39th episode.
This is the
Dipshit
last Dipshit Files episode for this year.
Yeah. What do you think? Did you have fun this year doing the Dipshit Files?
Fucking blast.
Did you anticipate your life at any point previous that you'd be doing a podcast like this?
Never in a million years.
Did you ever think you'd work for a company with a kitty butthole for a logo?
Never in a million years.
Or, or own a company with a kitty butthole for a logo, I should say. Work for it.
Never. But I have absolutely loved every moment.
It's been a blast.
It has been.
This is the nicest group of people. This audience, this community that's grown. I would say multiple communities, because there's some online communities.
Yeah.
There's some people that are offline doing cool stuff. Just a big family, really, of people that like fucking stories and silly shit in their heads.
Yeah.
But
we've got some. We've met some really amazing people through this process. And you know what feels pretty good to me is that I may not be face to face with these individuals, but I've kind of like found my tribe.
I'm cheering for so many new people that I've never. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
I know a lot of their names. Our show's just big enough to where, you know, we know a lot of names because they're active like online or they contact us a lot.
Right.
I've never cheered for so many people in my life. And I ran a magazine where the whole point was to cheer for all the artists in our town and stuff. It's just, there's way more people now to cheer for. And
well, I love it. Yeah, the emails, they update us on what's going on.
Yeah, keep that up.
See them on Facebook and their posts, whatever it may be. In Discord, and being a part of this community and watching their rises and their falls, and seeing this community embrace each other.
Yeah.
And be just loving to each other it's so heartwarming. And I love seeing it.
It shows you that the internet itself is not toxic.
Exactly.
It shows you that maybe some algorithms and maybe some kind of attitudes that are spawned from certain topics are the Discord, where you can find Chris the Discord Dookie Slayer, and of course, actually, you can find the entire Trusted Triad.
Everyone,
and a whole bunch of our friends in that world, the Trusted Council. Discord is amazing. There's nary a bullshittery in there.
I know.
I would say the same for Facebook. I mean, there's bleed over from other groups, and there's little dramas that happen and stuff like that, but it's really, really not that way in the shitbox.
It's not that way in the shitbox at all.
It's the only place I go to on Facebook.
I
run through the other things.
I know.
Okay, that's the news. That's the news that they want me to think that is true. Okay, now shitbox. Funny meme.
Okay, so the challenge that I have with the shitbox, the worst possible thing, because I'm an admin for the shitbox,
right,
is that some of the stuff people want to post is fucking hilarious.
Right.
It's so funny.
But Zuckerberg's like, no, that's too funny.
Exactly.
That's non-sanctionable humor.
I can't approve it.
Right.
Or I have to remove it because bots don't have a sense of humor.
Right.
And evidently, there's a lot of people out there, humans that don't have a sense of humor. But because of that, I do have to decline some stuff, or I have to take it down, as does, the wizard too.
As does every meme posting place that you can find on Facebook.
But y'all should know that I get a good belly laugh before I remove it, because it's fucking hilarious.
Right. That's the NSA guys. Your NSA guys doing that too.
Yeah,
those of you that are getting flagged a lot and getting banned.
They're
a lot,
giggling. They're like, "Sorry, dude, but nah."
You're on 3 government lists, but you're a goddamn funny kid. Funny kid.
Right.
No. Well,
so fun. I've been having a blast. I can't wait to see what the next year brings.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to 2023.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. We have all sorts of new wrinkles on all the shows. I mean, doing this kind of thing that we do here, it's every week.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's 5 days a week.
Right.
And that we're putting out content and, jokes and ideas and stories and all that crazy shit. And, got lots of new stuff. I got to spend a lot of time in my off time over the last couple of weeks thinking about new things. You guys got to hear the Lilac City Nightmare Band yesterday's show. We're going to do some interview stuff this year.
Yeah.
Just a Ride's going to do some fun stuff. Dipshit Files, we're going to work on doing some bonus stuff for patrons.
Yep.
All sorts of neat things.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I love the evolution of podcasting. Is a lot of fun. Doing this kind of medium, there's so much you can do with it.
Yeah.
And doing a network, we have a few people we're talking about maybe bringing on to do some other shows. And maybe not Zach shows. Maybe Monique and Zach don't have any show. We're not even part of it in some way.
Right.
Like
there's
a network.
There is a potential for that, yes.
But you're working on a new show. And so, we're leaning into what we're doing for sure. You guys, I said at the beginning of last year,
we're leaning so hard at this point. I think we've just fallen onto our sides.
Yeah, it's like
fucking leaning.
It's like sailing. Just like you gotta lean or you die.
Yeah,
on them little dinghies. I don't know. But I remember when I first started this, I said I'll let the market forces tell me what's up. And after a year, we'd reassess this thing and be like, all right, did you make a mistake or I feel so fortunate to do this, so I think that I'm going to keep doing it.
January 28th, I think, is the 1 year anniversary.
Is it?
I think it's January 27th. We'll have to look
for this show.
For SKATCAST.
That's probably right. But we're on week. This would be episode 52 coming up this week, and then 53 after. So 53 episodes would be a year amount of episodes.
A year of episodes, but
I think I dished out a few early ones just to kind of get old shit.
Well, you had made them,
right,
and then you put them out.
That's right. Goddamn.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
But it was like the day of or the day before our boy's birthday was the launch.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So this is actually, this is an anniversary of me still working for TimeSuck going, what should I do? What are we going to do here? Yeah. Well, now we're doing this. Well,
you actually were making these.
That's right.
What you were doing.
I was.
You were coming home.
My little bit of energy that I had left, I'm like, I'm going to squeeze out a Gunner Halifax.
Yeah, you were still making them.
And it's weird listening to him now because after doing this show every single week, you can just feel the flow get better and like the sound effects are mixed better and shit. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You could tell that my energy was different coming home from a long day.
I mean, when it's hard to jump on and be funny and be creative when you're fucking tired.
Right. But now I get to do this every fucking day.
Yay!
And I love it. And thank you to my bosses in Patreon,
Yeah.
our bosses in patreon.com/SKATCAST. There are quite a few of you.
Amazing.
If I tried to name you all, we would be here for another entire show episode.
Okay, so I challenge you. I'm throwing down the gloves.
Okay.
I challenge you to name all of them on Sunday.
Okay. I'm going to end up probably naming a lot of them on Thursday.
When we record the inside shit for the inside scoopers, I want to name them all.
Yep. This is our New Year's one, so we're looking back on the inside shit this week.
Yes,
and we
we
skipped
are.
an inside shit last week for the first time this whole fucking year.
We actually...
It was Christmas fucking time. We just decided...
It was Christmas night when we were normally record, and we decided to spend time as a family and just the three of us.
Yeah.
Be.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful.
Without microphones in our face for the day.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, I mean, we're kind of going on a small tangent here, but just so you guys know, like, there is no pre-recorded stuff. Like,
no.
We don't have shit in the can. I wish we could do that, but there's no fucking way.
I kind of like I like the nature of this
Me too.
because it feels like they're with us.
Yeah.
You know, shit happens and within 24 hours they know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of, although having a few things in the can would be nice just in case something goes sideways.
Right.
So we're not
There's been so many times where I'm like, God, I wish I had 30 minutes.
Rolling by the seat of our pants. But, you know.
I mean, even scripts ahead. We don't have, we have a couple scripts thanks to Bodhi that are ahead, you know, but that in this kind of gig, it's like a holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I'm not comparing myself to this, but these are kind of like my heroes in some sense. I don't really have a lot of heroes, but the South Park.
Goes my hero.
I was always impressed with not really impressed. I guess I empathized with. You know, I was a kid that would do his homework, like big assignment, you know, the day before or the morning before, just to see if I could do it for some dumb reason.
You're still like that.
I am.
Why? Why do you do those things?
It's my nature. I don't have any fucking idea. I know it's stupid, but I just do it. But that's why the South Park guys, they put out a behind the scenes thing, and they're like, we get this shit done in a week. And we're you know, it comes out Wednesdays, and we're on Tuesday morning, or Tuesday night, we're finishing shit. And it's like, okay, that's kind of how I would do my magazines and how I would do a lot of things, you know, practicing things, all that kind of crap. And that's definitely how SKATCAST is, because there's no other way to do it. Like, I don't have time.
Right.
They take such big chunks of time to do one 7-minute long thing.
Right.
Whatever. No tangent. End tangent. I'm a ridiculous person. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Some of this was about cryptids, and then I went off on something about something else. I don't know. Anytime.
It was
happy to do it.
About a horse.
Something about chickens. Is this the chicken update part? This is the inside shit?
Something about being dumb.
I'm confused about a lot of things currently. But thank you for listening.
About the breakfast animal.
The breakfast animal.
Yes.
Yeah. And the donkey cat.
Yep, donkey cat.
I love it all. But thank you to our trusted turd triad,
Yes.
Don, the shitbox wizard, and to Chris, the Dookie Slayer, Discord Dookie Slayer, and to Bodhi. We've got a script coming up from him pretty soon in the next couple weeks. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you to the Godhead for all of the mischief that they cause and things
all
that they do.
Love
All the love,
all of the
indeed.
support.
That's
Yeah.
right. And to the garbage disposal, our buddy Alan for you know, sharing, spreading, squatting,
Smearing.
the suck,
Smearing. The
squatting,
sack. Smearing the scat.
scat. Did I
You
say
said
suck?
Yeah.
I suck. There's been a lot of suck on my mind lately. As far as yeah. Well, everybody's been watching the internet and all that stuff and all.
My brain went the other direction. I was like, am I not doing my job?
Oh my goodness. Well, all right. Let's end this now. I like where her head is at. Ho ho! I've got a holiday hangover. I really do.
Do you?
I think so. And I need to point something out just at the end of the show.
Well, what?
Okay, a lot of people. There's been like that Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays thing.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
right.
And I pointed this out to you in text message, just like revelation in my head.
Yeah.
So people that aren't religious are saying Happy Holidays.
Right.
I do believe, and I don't know this for a fact, but holidays is kind of a weird little about holy days.
Right.
So they fucking got us again, guys. Those Christians are stealthy. They're stealthy and sneaky.
Oh, sneaky.
All right, whatever. Thank you guys for listening.
Yes.
SKATCAST.com, info@SKATCAST.com to send us ideas and tell us how we're doing, all that stuff. Of course, patreon.com/SKATCAST makes Monique and I do a little jig in our living room every time anyone signs up.
Yep.
We appreciate all our bosses. And we continue to make content for them inside the litter box every week, except for last week. But, every week this week. Every week this year.
We had a Christmas.
It was Christmas.
It was Christmas.
I apologize for trying to celebrate a thing with my child. Anyway, we love you guys, and we'll talk at you in the future.
And it'll seem like the present.
Bye.
Bye.
Dipshit file.
Bing.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes.
What?